Hi, I'm Mel.
I'm Bruce,
And
we're Brooklyn Italians Talk Movies.
Today I'm excited. We're going to be doing Planet of the Apes.
Yeah.
We're actually going to compare the old Planet of the Apes movie to the new version with James Franco.
Right.
The old one, I don't know if everybody remembers, was starring Charlton Heston. It was back in the 70s. And
Charlton Heston, Roddy McDowell,
right,
and Kim Hunter
a
were
lot
the main
of big
stars.
stars. It actually was great for the time that it was made. I mean, they didn't have the special effects like today, but the costumes, the movie was just as good. The makeup, everything was just, I feel, was just as good. And I love talking about this because I guess like other people too might remember. I remember watching this on Saturday afternoon.
Right.
I used to watch this with my brothers. My brothers loved it. My father always had it on because they played it a lot. They had a whole series of them, I believe.
Yeah, they had like 3 or 4.
They had 3 or 4 movies, and then they actually made a TV series of it. So
yeah, the old one, it had a cartoon.
They had a cartoon. I don't like the cartoon that much.
But in 1968, the original Planet of the Apes came out in 1968.
The very first one was my favorite. I mean, I'm sure they were all pretty good.
Yeah.
But I like the very first one, and that was with Charlton Heston. And then I think they made another one. What was the guy that looked just like him? Francisco. That was his name.
James Francisco.
He looked just right.
Yeah.
He looks like him.
Yeah.
And that was pretty good too. But today we're going to talk about...
We're just going to talk about the original, right? And
no, I'm excited because I like James Franco too, so we're going to talk about...
No, we're going to talk about both, but I mean the first one in the old Planet of the Apes series, and the first one in the new Planet of the Apes.
Right, a little about each, and then
Right.
how we feel about each one.
All right.
But,
The new one, by the way, is called Rise of the Planet of the Apes.
well, I know this, they're up to what, 5 or 6 by now, right?
No, there's only 3. There's only 3. Rise
Oh,
of,
didn't Mark
Dawn of,
Wahlberg make
and
one
War
too?
of.
I think Mark Wahlberg.
Oh yeah, but that was
That
like
wasn't
an
part of the
obscure,
series,
like,
right?
yeah, that was.
Well, he was good in it,
It
too.
was alright. I mean, that was
I like
like
Mark Wahlberg.
it was like a B movie.
All right,
Anyway.
So the original one...
Well, wait a minute. Let's
okay.
the original one in 1968, and the new one with James Franco was in 2011, and it also starred John Lithgow. And
Oh, he's good. He played the father, right?
And there was a woman that starred in it too with James Franco's love interest. And
Oh,
it was,
right. She was great.
Frida Pinto. She
Right.
played Caroline in the movie. And I actually like the new one better than the old one, and she likes the old one better than the new one. So
I don't know, maybe
we're
it's a
not gonna agree on
combination.
everything.
Well, maybe it's a combination because it brings back memories.
And by the way, so
It brings back memories of when you were a kid. And you know what's funny? I remember watching this when I was really little, and you would think I would be scared. And for some reason, I wasn't scared of this movie.
well, because they weren't frightening characters like
Well, it
they were
could have
like
been a little
more or
scary.
less they were like nerdy. They were nerdy apes.
No, they were scary.
Well, the
They were-
gorillas were scary. The gorillas,
Well,
not
I don't know which was which, but...
Cornelius and Zero were chimpanzees.
Well, they were the good ones. All I know is when I was
They
a
had
kid,
gorillas and then they had orangutans.
Right.
So,
But I just remember that there was a lot of action. I remember there was some scary parts, but you knew that it wasn't going to have a bad ending. For some reason, you knew it was going to have a good ending.
I doubt that there's anybody out there, any of you guys, that haven't seen Planet of the Apes, either the old one or the new one.
Well, the younger people might have not seen the original.
Well, it's always on TV. It's always on TV.
And I always watch it every time.
Anyway, if you haven't, or you know, if you saw it like when you were a kid and you haven't seen it.
There was one scary part of it when I was little. The part where they said they took the guy's brain out or something.
Oh
friends.
yeah.
There was one bizarre
One of the
part, but they don't
astronauts,
show you
they gave him
anything.
a lobotomy.
Yeah, there was some weird part.
Well, what they were doing in this 1968 movie, what they were doing was they were more or less Cornelius wasn't a vet. Zero, the female ape, she was a vet. She was doing research on human beings because they considered humans to be animals.
Right, like the humans experiments.
The way they do scientific experiments on animals,
animals.
they did them on
experimenting.
humans.
Right. The story was different though. The story
Well,
was
tell them what the base, people that didn't see it or haven't seen it for
the
a long time,
original
give the
one.
base
The
story.
original one. These astronauts crash on Earth, but at the time they don't know they're on Earth because when they get here, there's no sign of life. And then as the movie goes on,
Yeah, they figure they crashed on an alien planet.
right? Then they start to see. Well, I think they see like something growing, like leaves and water, and they say, "Hey, there's life on this planet. There's life on this planet."
Right.
So now,
Well, they landed in the water. They crashed into the water.
did they?
Their ship sunk, yeah, in the water.
Oh, okay. So they know there's some kind of life, but they don't know what. So they don't know they're on Earth. And then they see people, but the people they can't talk. They're like primitive,
Yeah.
so they don't know what's going on.
Actually, what happened was they actually were like they said, okay, we're gonna have to find food and water. So they take off and they start walking. And then they look up, and on the cliffs, like there was these big scarecrows shaped like apes, like holding their arms up like this. And they said, you know, that's, of course somebody made that, that's not a natural formation, somebody made those. So now it dawns on them that there's some kind of life on this planet.
Right.
And then they see the
And
humans come running.
and maybe some intelligent life.
Right, then there's humans that are run, like they see these humans stuck and run out of, once again,
A
cornfield. There was humans
Every movie watches
right.
cornfield.
There was
It's
humans
ridiculous.
running out of this cornfield, so now they're running past, you know, Charlton Heston and his two.
There's a lot of action.
astronaut
I
buddies.
mean, there's a lot of action. I mean, they crash. They don't know where they are. They're on another planet. You don't know what's gonna happen. And then all of a sudden, this was scary. The gorillas are in like armored clothes. And of course they're actors in costumes, but they had good costumes, and they're riding these horses from the mountain down, and they're trying to catch the humans.
They're hunting the humans, that's what they're doing, they're trying to catch them. Well, not hunt them to kill
Well, there was a
them.
lot of action. They were holding them captive in cages.
Right, yeah, they were
in
capturing
cages.
them, right.
They were hosing them down like we would do with our
That was
animals.
later on.
No, but we can't tell step by step, but they were treating them like we would treat animals.
Right.
But then there was, of course, the two nice chimpanzees, Roddy McDowell and Kim Hunter.
Well, Roddy McDowell was a scientist, actually he was an archaeologist, and he was, his thing was like there was what the apes called a forbidden zone, like where the apes couldn't go past a certain point, they were forbidden
But
to
they
go.
wanted to know what was there.
Right, so he was an archaeologist, and he went to excavate and to explore this forbidden zone. You know what I mean? So he was an archaeologist, and the female ape Zero was a vet, she was also a scientist and did the experiments.
Well, this was the thing. There was, I think, 3 astronauts that landed.
Yeah.
And he's the only survivor. I think he was the only one that survived. But the thing was...
Well, what's his name?
They
One of them
found
got killed during the hunt.
Right.
During the capture in the beginning. The other one was a black guy. He got caught like with Charlton Heston. But when they got caught, they got separated, remember?
Okay, yes.
Charlton Heston went to one place, he went to another.
Yes. Okay, so the story was he was the last one now. He's the main star, and they find out that he can talk. Somehow he gets angry and he says, the funniest, the line that everybody knows.
Wait a minute, let me
Get your hands off me.
You damn dirty ape.
Something like
Well,
that.
that was later in the
No,
movie.
we
That
got.
was later.
Well, we don't want to tell every detail.
No, but I'm just saying, what happened to Charlton Heston was he couldn't talk right away. Because when they were capturing them, they threw a lasso around his neck and they pulled it and they knocked him off his feet. So what happened was he had some kind of injury to his neck.
Right.
So he couldn't speak. He couldn't speak for a while, like a couple of days or a week. So there was no way for him to let
So
them
they
know.
thought he was just like all the other ones that they were primitive and they couldn't talk.
Right.
So now what happens is, because we got to get to the other one. So what happens is he winds up talking out of anger. He can talk again. He yells. So now they're getting nervous. The apes are like, uh-oh, they can talk. They're afraid now. So the bad apes, right, are scared. But Kim Hunter, who's the chimpanzee, she's happy because she is,
Well, she
the
has
scientist.
sympathy for the humans.
And she likes it,
Right,
right?
she
And
likes him,
it. She
and
calls
she-
him like blue eyes or
Yeah,
something.
right,
No,
blue eyes,
or
yeah.
something.
And she not only
Wait,
liked
that
him,
was Sinatra or blue eyes. But
Yeah.
she said she called him
Charlton
blue
Heston
eyes.
didn't sing.
He was nice looking though.
Well, he had a, now you made me lose my train of thought. He had a,
Charlton Heston, it was Charlton Heston.
right, she had a sympathy for Charlton Heston, and then when she finds out he can speak, they hide it. They try to hide it, like from well, there was an orangutan that was the head guy. He was the head of the science bureau, and the orangutans ran the show. The gorillas were all the enforcers, the cops, the military, and the chimpanzees were all the scholars.
They were scary for back in the day because, they didn't have...
You went right off the story.
I'm sorry.
No, not me, I'm just saying you went right off the...
I'm sorry,
right
I was
off
just
the
thinking of
bat.
those apes when you said the gorillas. They were scary. When you were little, they were scary.
All right, well, we
Go ahead,
established the fact that the gorilla, that the apes are
Okay, I'm
scary.
excited. Go ahead. You're telling too much of the story.
I'm not
Somebody might
telling
watch it.
whatever, go ahead.
No, go
I'm
ahead.
gonna talk
I'm
about the new
sorry.
one, so
No,
you go ahead and talk
finish
about
it
the
up.
old
Go
one.
ahead.
Anyway, again, it made me lose my train of thought. Anyway, what happened was she had an affinity for Charlton Heston because he could speak, and they wound up hiding it. They wanted to hide it from the other hierarchy apes that were running the place, and because they were afraid that they would dispose of him, and she liked him. So, and then it was Cornelius, Roddy McDowell got involved in it because his theory was that at one point in history, like in way back thousands of years in their history, humans were intelligent and could speak and were civilized and had societies. But he was ostracized like in his community there because of his theories. They always had him, he was always on the carpet because he thought, he brought up these theories about humans being intelligent before apes. His idea was, and it was funny because his idea was that apes evolved from man, where it's our theories that we evolved from apes.
Right, it was the opposite.
Right, it was the opposite.
All right. Well, here's a spoiler alert, but the movie's like 40 years old, so keep the spoiler alert. At the end, actually, Charlton Heston actually gets a girlfriend.
Oh yeah,
but a beautiful girlfriend. But anyway.
She was one of the ones that was caught with him, right?
Right, of course she's gorgeous, beautiful. And at the end, they're riding off on the horse. And he sees, this was like the twist in it, he sees the Statue of Liberty head on the beach, like it was destroyed, and he realizes that he wasn't on another planet, that he was on Earth, and this was what was gonna come.
Right, they were on a horse, and it jumps off the horse.
And I remember the shocker of, I was a kid, so it really wasn't shocked to me, but to like the grown-ups watching it, it was like, oh wow, they were on Earth.
Right, that was the twist at the end.
Really good, really good. I'm gonna let you tell the James Franco one.
Yeah.
Only thing I'm gonna say is I love James Franco, everything he does.
Well, anyway, about the
All right, go ahead.
1968 version, I mean, it was a good movie for the time. It was like, I guess it was a blockbuster at the time, but it was, if you look at it today in comparison to the new one, it's corny. It's like, they have suits on, they're walking upright, they're just wobbling, like they don't walk like
they had masks. They had actual masks.
Well, no, I'm not saying that the masks, I'm saying how they conducted themselves.
Yeah, but you want to know something? The ones today, I feel, they're good, but sometimes it's too much computer generated. It looks like a video game to me sometimes.
Yeah, well, the apes in the...
Not the one so much with, I'm sorry, not the one so much with James Franco, but the newer ones.
Well, the ones with James Franco, the apes were all
No,
computer
the
generated.
last one, not the one with Woody Harrelson, I didn't see that one, the one before that. What was the one before that? When they're trying to get the electric back on.
Yeah, that was Dawn.
Right, when they started to take over, to me, I don't know, I felt like some parts like a video game, like it was too over,
Well, actually, it was, if you look at it, the way they did it from the first one.
it was good technology, but it was monkeys, like it was more.
That's what they want. They were monkeys.
It was right, but back when you watch the old one, they had more human qualities because they were human.
Yeah, but how did these apes, see, the original movies, the last one of the series in 1968 movies was Battle for the Planet of the Apes, where Cornelius and Zira did, this was a whole, if you watch the whole series, like the whole chain of movies, the old ones, Charlton Heston comes to this realization, he sees the Statue of Liberty, that one's over. The next one, Earth, sends another spaceship out looking for Charlton Heston's spaceship. And he gets trapped in the same space thing that made Charlton Heston crash, and he crashes on the planet. Now he goes out looking for, now he finds Charlton Heston's girlfriend, but no sign of Charlton Heston. The second one was beneath the Planet of the Apes. So now they find a civilization of humans that survived whatever apocalypse there was and stayed intelligent and lived underground away from the apes. And they wound up having a nuclear bomb. So now, what happened was the apes, Zero, Cornelius, a couple other apes, and Zero was pregnant at the time, managed to rebuild Charlton Heston's spaceship, get it out of the water, and take off into space before the apes and these civilized humans blew up the planet with this atomic bomb. So now they wind up, the next movie was they land on Earth, okay, present day Earth, where humans are in charge, present 1968. They land on Earth, and now the humans, the human beings they see these monkeys that come out of the spaceship, they can talk, they have clothes, they're smart, so now they're like celebrities, like TV celebrities, like they're national, worldwide celebrities.
Which one was that?
That was Escape from the Planet of the Apes and Return from the Planet of the Apes.
I didn't like those.
So anyway, that was the whole series. And the reason I'm saying that is because Zero, now when they land back on Earth, she has her baby. But now there's people in the government, United States government, that say, if we let this baby live, someday it might happen that they become intelligent and we'll have a problem with the apes. So let's get rid of this baby now and nip it in the bud. So what they wind up doing is they wind up killing Cornelius, Zero, and the baby. But one of the people that was helping them takes the Zero's baby, brings it to a carnival, a circus, and trades it out for a regular chimpanzee baby, which she brings back to Zero, and they wind up, the baby that they killed was the wild chimpanzee from present day. So now the last movie was Battle for the Planet of the Apes, where this Zero's baby grows up, again played by Roddy McDowell, and his name is Caesar. And he's intelligent, so now at this point, man had evolved to the point where they were using apes. There was some kind of catastrophe where all pets on Earth died. Dogs, cats.
We're gonna have to try to wrap this up because we gotta start.
Yeah, but the reason I'm saying it is because the way the Planet of the Apes, the original one, started was, it was a big circle that kept going around. The apes, Caesar was brought to Earth by Cornelius, Caesar was brought to Earth by Cornelius and Zero.
See, the thing was,
he established the war against the humans, which started the Planet of the Apes, and it went all the way until Charlton Heston landed, and the whole cycle began again. That's how they made it, how they explained how the Planet of the Apes came about. Now we could explain the new Planet of the Apes and what their premise was for how the Planet of the Apes started.
Well, you know your Planet of the Apes. Pretty
well,
good.
When you watch it every time you
I remember the first one. I remember they made a few more after that. But I didn't really know the whole story, how everything turns around.
Well, you don't want nothing of it.
And you enjoyed it.
It was more of a guy. It was more of a guy.
No, but you just watched it and enjoyed it back then.
Right.
All right, so we're going to tell about the new one now.
Yeah.
You want to start this one?
Well, the new one was in 2011. It was starring James Franco, and like I said, the woman's name was Frida Pinto. She was his love interest in the movie Caroline, and he also, John Lithgow, played James Franco's father. Okay, now
can I just tell this part?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, I like the part that how they made the story. The story basically was his father had Alzheimer's. Is that how you say it? I always say it wrong.
Alzheimer's.
Right, and he was trying to find a cure for this. So he makes this drug that to help people with it, to try to save
James
his father.
Franco was a scientist working for a pharmaceutical company.
Right, so he wanted to help his father. So what he does is he stumbles across this drug that he makes, and this is what happens now with the drug.
Well, they're testing this drug. They're trying to make it
they're testing it on monkeys.
That will stimulate the human brain and stop the onset of Alzheimer's or the progression of Alzheimer's. So what James Franco is like the lead scientist. He's in charge of this whole thing. So what happens is they've been testing it on chimpanzees.
But what I like about it too is this compassion. Like John Franco has compassion for the monkeys, even though they're using them to think he has a lot of compassion for it. It's not like he's mean and they're doing tests on him. It's like,
well, yeah, no, they treated the
well, the whole story is he comes very attached to.
They treated the chimps, decent. It wasn't like they were abusing them or doing painful experiments. They were just injecting them with this stuff that would stimulate their brain. So now what happens is the side effect of this was that it made these chimps like 1,000 times smarter than they would normally be. Right. So now what happens is James Franco leaves and there's a caretaker there, a guy that takes care of he's in charge of taking care of the chimpanzees. And what happens is they go to feed this one female chimpanzee that had the treatment already, and she attacks them. And she goes bananas. She breaks out of the cage. She's running around. She's smashing things.
No.
Yeah.
No, he's presenting what he discovered, and they're having a big
He's not presenting.
No, not him.
He wasn't even there.
Weren't they?
He told that.
No. Okay.
You want me to explain the movie, or you want to
Okay.
explain?
Can I say what I thought? I thought they was trying to show what this new drug can do, and then all of a sudden the ape went crazy during the demonstration and destroyed the place. And his friends.
Okay, want me to get to that?
Okay, sure.
Anyway, what happened was this ape went bananas. No pun intended. The ape went bananas, jumped out of the cage, started attacking people, breaking everything. Now in the interim, James Franco had told the head of this pharmaceutical company, I found the cure for Alzheimer's. So now all they see is dollar signs. So this guy he calls all the board members together, and he gets everybody together in his board meeting, and they're discussing this new drug. So now in the middle of this chimpanzee breaks through the glass window and starts attacking everybody in this boardroom, right? So now, by that time, a bunch of guys, security guys come with tranquilizer guns or whatever, and they shoot her like 50 times with the tranquilizer guns. They wound up killing her, all right? So now, they can't figure out why she did that, because she was usually docile, tame. Why they couldn't figure out why she went nuts. So now when they went into her cage where she was kept, they looked under, they had like a platform where she stayed on. They looked under the platform and there was a baby, a newborn chimpanzee. So now they said, oh,
so cute.
She didn't go crazy from
really cute, right?
Right, yeah. She didn't go crazy from the medication.
Right.
She went crazy because she was protecting her baby.
Right.
And she thought they were going to harm the baby. So now they got a baby, a newborn chimpanzee. They call up John Franco while this is all going on. He rushes back. So now the caretaker says, listen, this little chimp has to be taken care of around the clock. There's no other female chimps here we can give it to, and I can't take it because I'm getting kicked out of my apartment already. I can't bring a chimpanzee.
Now, as you're watching this, you get attached to the chimpanzee.
Oh, sure, yeah.
James Franco takes it home, and he treats it like a child.
Right,
like a baby.
Treats it like a baby.
And the way they do the story, it makes you fall in love with this little baby chimpanzee.
Right. Now, in the interim, the father, James Lithgow's father, James Franco's father, played by John Lithgow.
He starts to get better, right, with the drug?
Well, James Franco wasn't supposed to give him this drug because it wasn't tested on humans. But James Franco was watching him and he saw the effects of this Alzheimer's was really breaking him down. So he said, you know what, I'm going to give it to him.
He's really a good actor, not to interrupt you, but he was excellent. Lithgow,
he's good. He's
excellent. I mean, he played in comedies a lot, right?
Yeah.
A lot of comedies.
Well, he played Third Rock from the Sun.
Right, but this movie was serious, and I mean, that's a hard role to play. He played really good.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So anyway, James Franco injects him with the stuff, right? So now he wakes up the next morning, he's back to normal. He's playing classical piano, he's reading
He's better than normal.
Right, so now James Franco introduces him to the baby chimp. So the father automatically bonds with this baby chimp. And he's okay, what are we going to name him? So the father says, wait a minute, he goes and gets a book, a philosophy book, right? And he opens it up, and he said, the little chimp is in his lap, and the little chimp goes like this to the page, and he points like he's hitting the page, and John Lithgow looks at the name that was in the writing and was Caesar. So he picked his own name. His name's Caesar now, that's it. So now they start to raise, we're getting a little long here. They start.
Me or you? I can't get a word in.
Go, 10 minutes.
All right, go ahead.
Anyway, you wanna pick
Isn't
this
that
up?
a tiny name, Caesar? I have an uncle Caesar.
Yeah. You wanna pick this up? What was the Roman name? Caesar.
Roman, right. That's where I thought he got it when he opened the book, from the Roman, Caesar.
Yeah, well,
And I guess they
had
picked that
a
because
from
a
Roman
leader, I
philosophy.
think at the end he becomes a leader, Caesar.
Well, yeah, that was right. That's what
They just
right.
did it that way, but.
So go ahead, you wanna talk a little? Go ahead.
All right, so what are we up to now?
Well, I said they're up to the point where he picked his name and they're raising him.
Okay, so what happens, of course, when you bring a monkey home, I never brought a monkey home.
But it wasn't an ordinary monkey now, it inherited the chemicals, it inherited the serum from the mother.
He was very smart though, he wasn't violent.
Well, he was super smart because he had this, the
He
mother.
taught him how to eat at the table, didn't eat at the table, he ate at the table. He was very intelligent, so he was really like a child, a little child. But what happened, of course, he's still an animal. So they had a neighbor, of course, and the neighbor really wasn't a nice guy. I don't remember the details, but the
It was
neighbor.
one of those neighbors where, hey, your garbage pails are on my side of the sidewalk, the car is parked in my driveway, you know, he's one of those nasty neighbors that has an attitude.
So what
Should have
happens
beat.
is, anyway, what was his name Lithgow in the movie? The father. Anyway, the father was outside, and the part that I remember the most is he's in the car, and he really shouldn't be driving, and I think he slams into the.
Well, that's later on. The serum that James Franco gave the father that made him back to normal now started to wear off.
So he was
So
doing a
he's
couple of
falling
things
back into Alzheimer's.
that upsetted the neighbor, annoying things that upsetted the neighbor.
Right.
And then I think
Well, he got in the neighbor's car.
and back, no, it was his car.
Oh, he got in his car and started smashing into
the bumper or
the neighbor's
something.
car.
So the neighbor went crazy, and the neighbor was like over the top, going crazy, yelling at him, and you feel bad. The poor guy has Alzheimer's, and you feel bad. So the monkey sees.
Now Caesar is in the attic, he's
right.
by a window, and he sees him.
He sees the aggression. He sees that this man is yelling at the grandfather because he's like the kid, you know. So he goes out to help him. And plus he's an animal, so it's instinct.
Well, he didn't go out, he crashed through the window.
Right, but it's basic it's instinct, right? For an animal. So he goes after the neighbor. So that's when everything goes wrong. Now he goes after the neighbor. He doesn't kill the neighbor, but what happens is now the police come and they want to take him the animal away out of the house. You can't have a monkey in the house. Right, that's what I'm saying. So now, I was trying to breath. So now, this is where your heart breaks. They take him out of the house and he's already part of the family. So they're devastated. You're watching this and you're feeling bad because it's like they're taking their kid away. And this is where they put him away with all the gorillas, and this is where it all starts.
And not only that, a heartbreaker is that Caesar is smart, he's intelligent,
right,
so
you feel bad.
he has emotions. So, and you can see that he's emotional, he's scared to death, he's emotional.
He has emotions where he's
He doesn't
scared.
know why they're taking him out of his home.
He don't understand.
Right.
He trusts James Franco.
Never been around any other apes.
He actually
his
feels
whole life.
love. He feels love for James Franco. He trusts him, and now they put him away, and it's a zoo, really, some kind of.
Oh, we forgot a part.
You don't have to get every single detail.
Well, no, but this is an important part.
Okay.
In the interim, they take him out. James Franco meets this girl, right? And she goes and meets
that's later,
Caesar.
isn't it?
She goes and meets Caesar, and they're all together, and so they decide, because Caesar's always confined to the house, they decide to take him. Now this is in Northern California where they are. So now they have those big redwood forests and stuff, so they decide to take him to the forest and let him run wild for a while, climb and jump and do whatever he wants to do.
Yeah, that was a cute part.
Right, so they take him out and they say, okay, go ahead, let him go.
It was kind of like he was taking his baby brother out.
Right, and he said to Caesar, go ahead, go climb. You know, and he takes off running and he climbs.
I get sad, even when I think of this now, I think of the movie, I get sad because it's like when you have a pet, you know, or a dog or whatever, but it was more than that because he could communicate with
And
them.
then all of his interactions with humans after that were bad.
Right.
So this is what turned him
Against the humans.
So anyway.
But he still never really was bad against humans for no reason. Like he never really initiated anything.
No, he did it because he got in. See now another thing, you can't forget this.
The part when how they treated him in the zoo, the bad guy there or whatever.
James Franco, because the serum that he used on his father started to wear off, he went back into the laboratory and made another serum that had a booster that was even stronger.
See, I don't
so that
remember
it
that
wouldn't
part.
wear off.
I don't
You know what
remember
I mean?
that part.
So now, Caesar, in the interim, he's in this facility where they keep all these apes, right? It's like a waste, like where they unwanted apes, like from zoos or circuses or whatever, were all sent to this one place. And he kept all of these apes.
I didn't know they were unwanted apes. I thought it was just like, what do you call it where they keep them? Not a zoo, what's the other word? Like in Rampage, it's a, I'll think of
Like an enclosure, like a wildlife park? There was no wildlife park because they kept them in little cages.
No, they had the outside area with the big
No
gorilla
outside, it was
orangutan.
inside. It was
That
inside.
was, they made it look like outside.
They would put a fake tree in the middle of this
I
big room.
didn't know they were unwanted.
Anyway, all of these monkeys were kept in cages. This was a place where people brought like, apes that were taken out of medical facilities that closed down, whatever.
Which is sad in itself.
Any place that the apes couldn't go to a regular zoo or whatever, they put them in this place. So now all of these apes, the place was run by a guy and his son. The son was a sadistic,
He was a miserable
yeah, he was
rat.
nasty, and he used to hurt the apes. He used to poke them with electric cattle prods, and he would tease them and stuff like that. So
And when you're watching this, you're getting upset.
all the
You're
apes
watching that,
in this place are a little nuts. So now they put them all in this one big room, like for exercise, where they got a big tree in the middle and bulbs and stuff like that. They put them all during the day in this one big room. So now Caesar, he for all intents and purposes, he's human. He's like a human child. He was raised like a human child. He's never been around apes in his whole life, never saw another ape. Now they throw him into this group of wild apes, gorillas, orangutans, a lot of chimpanzees. As soon as he goes out there, he figures, well, I'm going to go make friends. So he goes over to one of these chimpanzees, and you can see the chimpanzee had like a scar on his face, and he was like, you could tell he was just like a nasty, crazy,
But he was one that they did tests on, that they weren't good to.
Well, no, that's
Not James
later
Franco
on.
himself.
That's later on.
Oh, so
That
what
wasn't the
his,
same.
what was his story then?
Well, he was abused somewhere,
Oh,
wherever he
horrible.
was.
This is
So
sad.
anyway,
This is
he was
probably
the
sad.
dominant chimpanzee. So when Caesar went over to make friends with him, he started beating the hell out of him. He chased him up the tree, he was throwing, he was hitting him with a bucket, he was doing all kinds. So then this guy comes out with the cattle prod, and he prods them all, he gets them all to go back in their cages. So now Caesar is traumatized, like he's in the cage, he's sitting there, he's shaking, like he don't know what's going on. So now he starts to get an idea, I gotta get out of here. You know what I mean? Because I gotta remember, he's super smart.
Right.
So now he figures, I gotta get out of here or I'm gonna get killed.
In the meantime, James Franco's trying to figure a way to get him out of there. He had to go to court.
Yeah,
because of what
they wouldn't
happened.
do it. They
They
wouldn't do
kept extending the court date.
Right.
He couldn't get him out.
Right.
He would go visit him, and he would be with his girlfriend. They'd be heartbroken.
So now the guy that's
And then-
running the place, the bad place, the place where they're keeping the apes, he more or less tells John Franco, come up with the scuttle. You give me enough money, I'll let you take him out of here. Yeah. So James Franco comes with an envelope full of money,
See, I don't
puts it
remember
on the table, and the guy lifts up the newspaper, puts it under the newspaper.
Is that
and
what
says-
gets him out?
And he goes, I think, let me see if I can go back through the paperwork, maybe there's something we could do. So now James Franco knows that he's gonna be able to get him out. So he says, I wanna see him. So Caesar comes, they bring him out to the gate, like in front of a bars, in front of a cage. And James Franco says to him, I'm coming back for you, I'm gonna come and take you home, and so now he gets a sigh of relief, Caesar, right?
I thought he gave a sigh because he thought he was leaving with him.
Well, he did at the minute, but then he realized.
I think that was a big part because he saw James Franco and he was happy and he thought he was gonna leave. And then when he saw he left, he was sad, and now he's thinking about humans. He's reevaluating what he thinks about you. Not that he.
Well, he thought James Franco abandoned them again.
Well, he didn't understand. He didn't understand legal things. He had to go to court and all that kind of stuff. So now it's even sadder because you're saying, "Oh my goodness, the monkey thinks that he don't even want him anymore. He doesn't understand what's going on." It's kind of sad now when I think about it.
It's very sad. The whole thing was very sad.
The new one was sad. The old one wasn't sad. The old one was astronauts. They crashed. They had to fight this new world, and of course Charlton Heston comes in out at the end.
Well, I'll tell you what.
And, with the girlfriend on the horse.
We're running a little long now, so
I know.
Well, let me sum it up for you, all right? The new one Caesar gets out of this place first, and he goes to smart man. He goes back to the research facility where his mother was. Right? He makes his way back there, and you'll see how he does it. Like when you watch the movie, he makes his way back there, and then he goes from there. Well, no, I'm sorry. He makes his way back to James Franco's house. Now, James Franco had taken this new medication and brought it home and put it in the refrigerator. He was going to give it to the father, right? But in the interim, James Franco decides he doesn't give it to the father because the father doesn't want to live and he doesn't want to be in that condition. And so he more or less, James Franco has sympathy for him and says, okay, I'm going to let him go. And the father winds up dying. Anyway, he's got this new serum in the refrigerator. Now, Caesar makes his way to the house. John Franco's not there when he gets there. So he goes, he breaks into the house, and he manages to find this serum.
Now, how smart was the monkey to know if I give this to my friends?
Right. He finds the serum in the refrigerator, and he takes it. Now he goes back to the facility where they were holding him with all the other apes, right? And he goes, now he starts to manipulate the other apes. He makes sure there's this giant orangutan that used to be a circus ape, and he learned sign language, like at this circus or whatever. They put him to do sign language.
Was that the orangutan?
Orangutan, big orangutan. Yeah. So now Caesar, somewhere along the line, I guess they learned sign language. So now they start communicating to him, right? So he goes, whatever he does, he gets it in a way where he gets all the apes in this facility on his side, all right? Now he goes and he opens up these canisters, which are gas. They're not injections, they were gas that had to be inhaled. He opens up these canisters and he throws them down the middle of this hallway where all these cages are. So all the apes in these cages now breathe in this chemical. And now the next day, they're all super intelligent. So now
that's the part when he gets back at that nasty
guy. Well, now this guy,
you can't wait for him to get back.
The nasty guy comes in at night. He was out with his friend and a couple of girls. Right, he brings these girls in.
He was making like a joke out of them.
Right, he was making a fool out of the apes and stuff. So now whatever happened, whatever the case may be, without us running too long, the apes, Caesar winds up getting this guy and he beats him up and he hits him. He's poking him with this cattle prod and everything.
He's getting him back for everything he did.
Right, so now one of the other apes, the one that originally beat up Caesar, he went to kill the guy, and Caesar stopped him. And the first time he spoke, he said, no, like that, and the other ape stopped and looked up, and he just nodded and left him. So they didn't kill the guy, they just beat him up.
Because I think they were showing the character of Caesar.
Right, that he wasn't like,
he wasn't just crazy.
He wasn't an animal.
Like crazy.
Right?
No,
really, he had compassion and he had thought, you know?
Right.
So anyway, they make it out, and the whole thing was, to get through this real quick, they make it out. Now they start fighting against the humans because now they went to the zoo. They got all the chimpanzees out of the zoo.
Well, not in the first one, not in the James Franco one. They don't fight anybody.
Yeah, yes they do.
Don't they just show?
Yeah, no, they fight the cops. They fight the cops try to stop them.
On the bridge.
Right, on the bridge.
Okay,
yeah.
so they're on the bridge and they do fight, but they fight to escape, not just to fight.
It's not a war. They fight to escape.
They just fight to escape, and then they go into the woods, and that's
right. They fight these humans. Caesar gets to the point where he's really, he's like a human being.
But see, you really like Caesar, even though.
Right, because he's the underdog.
But I'm thinking of the old one now, just reverting back to the old one. The only ones you liked was Roddy McDowell and Kim Hunter because they were nice and compassionate, but you hated all the other apes. The apes were mean, But
this one, they were all together. Like they followed Caesar. That's it.
You know what's funny? Excuse me for 1 minute. You know what's funny? In the original one, Charlton Heston was the star. In the new one, Caesar is the star. Caesar is the star, which actually is a computer-generated monkey, but he was the star, and James Franco was the co-star.
Right.
Which is funny how far we come with technology that we're co-stars, and the actor is the co-star, and the ape is the main star. In the old one, Charlton Heston was the star.
So let me get done with this now.
All right. You're going way too long.
No, I'm going too long.
I'm just summing up the difference between the two. This was a comparison show. We didn't even get to the comparison.
Well, just to sum up the end of this movie, the apes, they fight the humans, the cops, they send like the National Guard and stuff. Anyway, they wind up escaping. They go over this bridge, and Caesar takes them to the Redwood Forest where James Franco had taken him. Because he knows that the forest is so dense and vast, they can hide in there. So he takes it. Now, in the interim, James Franco finds out what's going on. I guess he sees the news, whatever. He makes his way to this bridge, and he finds Caesar. Right? Now the last scene of the movie is he's talking to Caesar, and he says to Caesar, listen,
very heartbreaking.
Come with me, I want to take you home. You know, I want to take you home now.
I had a tear in my eye.
We'll work this out. And Caesar, and he's standing upright now. He's not down on all fours.
Yeah, now he's like a person.
He's standing upright, and he grabs James Franco and he hugs him, and he says in his ear, he says, Caesar is home.
Right.
Like that. And in human speech, and James Franco, oh my God.
Right.
And he backs up, and Caesar turns around, and there's, like, at the end of this walkway, these other apes are waiting for him. And he just looks at James Franco, and then they take off into the woods, and that's it. That's the end of the scene.
You know what I just thought of? They both, in comparison, let me just wrap it up in comparison, they both had strong endings. Because the first one, the old movie, the powerful ending was they find the head of the Statue of Liberty.
Right, and observed, yeah. Well, what, you told them that already?
I'm trying to finish, wrap it up. And the ending was a shocker. They find the Statue of Liberty destroyed, and he realizes he's on Earth, and this is what's to come. That was a shocking ending. With this was another shocking ending because he's telling James Franco, I'm not coming, I am home. So now this is his home, and he's in charge of all the apes.
Right.
Very powerful endings, great stars. Charlton Heston, back in the day, great actor. James Franco, new star, great actor, very powerful, different stories, both very good, very powerful endings, recommend both. If you're home Saturday night, you can't sleep,
you know what you do?
You click on, and you might find it on an old channel.
Watch the old one, and then watch the new one right after it.
Yeah.
The old one, I liked it.
I loved it.
You know what it is? It's a comfort movie.
Right.
It's like eating a dish of macaroni.
That's right.
You know what I mean? When you were a kid, you eat a dish of macaroni, it's comfort food.
Well, how many times a week do we eat a dish of macaroni?
Well, a lot, as you can see. Anyway, it's a comfort movie for us because we remember when we were kids we watched it.
And it was made well.
Was it a great movie,
yes,
a big cinematic production?
Yes. No, but it was a great movie for then. You forget, Charlton Heston was a great
First of all,
actor. He's a big actor.
Charlton Heston, right. Yeah, he played Moses, Ben-Hur,
back in the day, he was a top actor, a top stars.
So, what's that got to do with the movie itself?
Because that was a top movie back then.
It was a good movie. For me, it was a good movie.
Because you're a different generation.
I'm a different generation?
I'm sure back then, yeah.
That's my generation.
What were you, 5? I was 5.
In 1968, I was 5, you were 2.
Well, I didn't watch it when I was 2.
No, but I mean back then, I watched it when I was like 10, 11 years old.
Alright, they're both good movies, whatever you prefer.
Anyway,
watch them both. We're going to do another comparison movie.
No, what I'm going to say is this.
Well, that's what I want to
1968, Planet of the Apes, good movie. For the time, no special effects, but good makeup. Okay? But if you look in the background, that the apes that are in the background, they were wearing like rubber Halloween masks.
Still looked good.
The only ones that really looked good were the main characters.
Still
anyway, they were alright.
But yeah, I have a point to bring up. Here it is, 40-something years later, and people are still talking about it, people still clicking on when it's on, people still watch it.
Because it's a comfort movie.
Okay, let's see if the new one, 40 years from now, people are talking about it.
The kids that were our age today that watch the new one, that'll be their
No, because then there'll be Planet of the Apes Part 25.
Oh yeah, no.
Because they do that.
They'll remake the Planet of the Apes with holograms. So that you're right in the middle of everything that's going on. Anyway, for me,
and I like Roddy McDowell.
The 2011 version, great action, great special effects, great story, great acting. Even the Caesar, the ape that was computer generated, was a great actor. All right, so all around the movie was great. 1968.
But let me tell
good
you
movie.
something.
Is it worth the watch? Yeah, but it's like a B movie. It's like a B movie.
Absolutely not a B movie. Absolutely not.
That's my opinion.
Well, I'm going to give my opinion.
Go ahead. I'm done. I said what I had to say.
You said a lot now. I totally forgot what I had to say.
All right, go ahead.
All right. Anyway, what the problem is, back then, they made Planet of the Apes, whether they made 2, 3, whatever. You remember that first one. When you think of Planet of the Apes, you think of Charlton Heston. Wherever you are, if you're an older person, middle-aged, you think of Charlton Heston. Now, when you talk about...
And first of all...
Let me finish, please. The new Planet of the Apes, when I'm talking to somebody about Planet of the Apes, oh, which one was that? Was that the one with James Franco? Or was that the new one with Woody Harrelson? Oh wait, are you talking about the one with... No, there's so many of them now. They're making so many one after another that when you're talking about it, you're like, wait, which one are you renting tonight? Which one are you talking about? Is that the one with Woody Harrelson?
Wow, you're talking 1,000 miles an hour.
I know, because I know you're not going to let me finish. What I'm saying is, when you say the old Planet of the Apes, what do you think of? You think of Charlton Heston, and you think of Riley.
When you say the old Planet of the Apes.
When you say the new Planet of the Apes, well, which one is it? Is it Woody Harrelson?
No, Woody Harrelson,
Franco?
Woody Harrelson is in the new Planet of the Apes.
But I'm saying there's so many new ones that it doesn't distinguish from the others.
There's 3. There was 6 of the old ones.
How come I can distinguish the difference in the old ones? As soon as you say old one,
You can distinguish the difference
no,
in
the
the
new
ones.
one, are you talking about Mark Wahlberg? Are you talking about James Franco? Are you
Forget
talking
about Mark
Harrelson?
Wahlberg. That movie was ridiculous. That's
It
not even
doesn't
counted
matter,
into
but there were
mix.
so many, I feel. All right, anyway, different opinions.
Right. Hey, listen, I told you in the beginning. She likes the old one, I like the new one. I like the old one.
Well, I'm old school.
But I like the new one better.
I'm old school.
Yeah, you're old schooler, right?
Well,
Anyway, that's our comparison. You got 2 differential point of views this week. So, she likes the old one, I like the new one. Give them both a
I
look.
still like the new one, but I love the old one.
All right, so I still like the old one, but I love the new one. So,
Okay.
give them a look, give both of them a look, decide for yourself which one you like.
Yeah, we're
the
gonna
best.
be doing for Thanksgiving, I wanna just...
Oh, yeah, for our Thanksgiving show, go ahead, yeah.
For Thanksgiving, we're gonna be doing another comparison. We're gonna be doing the old King Kong versus the new King Kong. I know as a child back, here we go again. Thanksgiving, they always played the old movies. They played King Kong, they played Mighty Joe Young, The March of the Wooden Soldiers. So this to me is a Thanksgiving movie, even though there's no
Right.
real Thanksgiving movies. This to me, I remember as a kid.
That's gonna be a tough one because we
No,
both
I
like
know
both
what
of
I'm
them.
gonna say already.
No, I mean, we both like both
Don't
of
I
them.
always, right?
Yeah.
No, anyway, so we're gonna compare the old one, I think it was 1933, to the new one with Jack Black. But actually, Jack Black, the one with Jack Black was me, excellent. I like him too. But,
Well, let me say, you're not always right, but you're never wrong.
okay.
Right?
So anyway, on that note, we're gonna compare those two, and hopefully I'll get a word in.
Get a word in. You didn't stop talking today. Forget it was like somebody wound you up.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Thank you for watching.
thanks for watching.
Thank you for listening.
If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, come over to our channel, hit the subscribe button, subscribe to our channel, and you'll be able to get out, be able to be notified that when our videos come out, usually once a week. We keep saying we're going to try to do more than once a week, but it's tough. It's tough when you work full-time jobs and you got a house to take care of and all that stuff. You know the deal. I don't have to tell you. We're going to try to do one and one. We were talking about it yesterday, but it's tough. But you'll get at least one a week out of us. Anyway, we've been getting some views on our videos. We got a few subscribers. It's starting to pick up little by little. It's putting along, but it's getting better and better every day. So we want to thank you for that.
Thank you for watching.
Our subscribers that are watching, thank you. We love you. You're part of our family. And I'm Bruce.
I'm Mel.
And we're Brooklyn Italians Talk Movies.
Thank you.
And we'll see you next week, all right? Take care. Be good.
Thank you.